So, man, I've been sitting back looking at so many people attack video games. You know, people love attacking this male hobby. Okay. And I think, you know what? I think it's a low key way of saying that I either hate men or I think you're just there to serve other people's interests. Okay. And these people can't come out and say that I despise men, so they attack a male hobby. Okay. Or at least, let's put it this way, a hobby that people think is a male hobby, because there's always been plenty of other people who played video games. Women have always played video games. Okay. One of the main people who got me into video games was one of my aunts. Okay. Yeah, I used to go to the arcades with my aunt and my uncle, and I'd play video games with them. Okay. So, yeah, but that's the thing. People see it as a male hobby. Okay. I think what's happened is society has changed. Society is very different than it was centuries ago. It's very different than it was even a couple of decades ago. Okay. As technology has advanced, people don't have to rely on men as much as they do. Okay. Women definitely don't have to rely on men the way they did centuries ago. Okay. Okay. I think what's happened is you still have a bunch of women who love men, but I think centuries ago or even decades ago, you had women who didn't like men. Okay. But they had to pretend because they needed men. So they had to go out there and get married and say nice things because society was very, very dependent on men, or at least more dependent on men than it is now. Okay. But I think now you have a lot of women, you know, who have their own jobs, their own money, their own cars. You know, they can even find alternatives to having sex with a man. There are alternatives. Okay. So I think a lot of people can actually go out there and just say what they really want to say. And I think what's happened as well also is a lot of men have come to the understanding that society don't value them the way it used to. Okay. And I think a lot of dudes have retreated from society to some extent. Okay. They're not going out there getting married. They're not trying to take care of women and children. They're not going to the church or doing like social work. And I think these people have noticed that. Okay. That these men are going to work, coming home and, you know, just playing their games and taking care of themselves. Okay. And I think that the idea to get men back to doing what they used to do is to basically trash them. Okay. That doesn't work. But strangely enough, you have a lot of politicians, social influencers who think that trashing people is going to fix that. It's going to make men be like the way they used to be centuries ago. But the problem is the society has changed. You can't have all these different social changes and then keep everything the same. It's not going to work. But anyways, man, let me give you my input. Let me give you my thoughts on some of the stuff people say about video games. Okay. You know, they sit around and they say these dudes are slobs and they don't work and they don't have jobs and just sit around playing video games. And I want to know, how are you guys doing that? Because video games are very expensive. Okay. Some of these games cost $70. Some of these consoles are like $500-$600. Okay. The controllers are very expensive. You got to pay money to go online. It costs a lot of money. Even if you go back to the the days of Atari or 8-bit Nintendo. Okay. Some of those Nintendo cartridges was $40-$50. And even the Atari costed a decent amount of money for the time period. And I think the games was like $15-$20, whatever. You still have to have a job. A lot of these dudes who play video games have jobs. And you know what? If they have a wife or a relative who's breaking them off, going to sit up there and pay all the bills and the mortgage and the electricity and fund their expensive hobby, hey, that's between them and that person. I mean, I love to know how they do it, but that's between them and that person. But it takes money to buy all these games, okay? Most dudes, I honestly would say, who play video games have a job, okay? Now, also, you have a lot of people who say, oh, well, these guys are antisocial and they're just sitting in the house in their mother's basement. They're not doing anything. They're not getting married. They're not doing this and that. I think that's a blanket statement. That's a stereotype. Okay. There's a lot of guys who are very successful basketball players, business people, in all walks of life who play video games, who have wives, who have children, okay, who have friends, okay. I mean, heck, you can even socialize on the game. I don't play online as much as I used to, but I used to go up there and play all type of fighting games, shooting games, or whatever. I would play with dudes from other cities, other countries. I would play with men and women, okay? So we still socializing. I was looking at a video, and this lady was complaining about her man. He comes home after work. He just wants to sit there, and he wants to play these video games for an hour or two a day, and you're not making any money. I got a bunch of problems with that. First of all, men aren't pack mules, okay? If you come home from work, what's wrong with you taking an hour or two to relax, okay? Also, since when did every hobby have to be about making money? I mean, dude, I love video games. I used to work out, listen to music, play basketball. I didn't make any money off that stuff. Every hobby don't have to be about making money. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can figure out how to make money off something that you enjoy doing, great. But to me, the idea that to enjoy a hobby, you have to make money off of it, that kind of cheapens that hobby, okay? I used to play basketball. I loved playing it, but I didn't make any money off that. I didn't go to the NBA or anything like that. I just enjoyed playing it. I just enjoyed having fun doing playing it. You don't have to make money for a hobby, man. A hobby is for your enjoyment. Okay, but it doesn't matter whether you playing video games or playing basketball or whatever. You just like or exercising or whatever. Playing chess. You don't have to make money off that, man. Your hobby is for your enjoyment. And every waking moment of a person's life don't have to be about making money. You know, I mean, even the Bible says that money answers all things, and that means in this world. That doesn't mean spiritually, that means in this world. So money is very important, but there's more to life than just money, okay? Every waking moment don't have to be, oh, you're not making any money, so you shouldn't be doing it. No, get out of my face, man. That's crazy to me. That's a crazy statement to make. We've made a God out of money, okay? But it's not. Money is not God. You can't take it with you, okay? But there's a lot of benefits to video games that I think people don't talk about. Okay. Just look at stress. Okay. You have a lot of these guys who are going to work. They're being verbally abused, physically abused, sexually harassed. I've seen a lot of men deal with sexual harassment at job sites, racial discrimination, just flat out disrespect, physical abuse, verbal abuse. If that guy want to come home after having a boss who wants to come to work and degrade him because, hey, I'm the boss. I get off on degrading people, which a lot of them do, okay? Saying ignorant stuff, stupid things, or just being ridiculous. That guy want to come home from a stressful day after working 8, 16 hours, whatever, and he want to plop down there and play a video game for an hour or two. Leave him alone, okay? This world is very stressful. Anything you can do to relieve stress, okay? Whether it's playing video games, working out, listening to music, praying, reading the Bible, I don't care. If you can come home and do something that you're going to enjoy and relieve some stress without harming anybody or hurting anybody, I'm down for that, man. Okay? I don't care if it's playing a video game or hitting a punching bag or lifting weights or getting on your knees and praying to God, whatever. You're not hurting anybody. I don't see what the issue is, okay? But the issue is this, okay, for a lot of these people. I think men have started to understand, okay, like I said, that society doesn't value them the way it used to, okay? Not even centuries ago, but not even decades ago, okay? So they have retreated from society. They're not going out there getting married and having kids, working for the church or being as involved in social justice programs. They're not doing that stuff. You go to these churches, man, a lot of these churches don't even have men in the churches, okay? So these men saying, hey, I want to retreat from society. I'm going to go do my job, work out, whatever, play video games, whatever. Okay. I'm not going to go do this other stuff. And I think people think the way to get men re-engaged is to trash them, to trash their hobbies. That's not going to work. Okay. Society wants men to serve the interest of benefit women, children, church, and other parts of society, which nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with loving women and children. Nothing is wrong with going to church and supporting the church in many different ways. Nothing is wrong with going out in society and helping to make society a better place. But a culture, especially in the United States and some of these other Western countries, is that, hey, we don't like men. Men are trash. You're garbage. Okay. It doesn't work that way. So I think men have retreated to their video games. Okay. But you know what else is fascinating to me? Like I said, we don't look at the benefits of games enough. Okay. Video games are very beneficial. Let's look at all the money and jobs that video games provide. You have over 700,000 people who work in the video game industry in just the United States. I think it makes over like $33 billion. Okay. In just the United States. We're not talking about Japan and all these other countries. Just the United States. Okay. So that dude sitting around at home playing video games all day long, he's making money for people. He's helping people have jobs. Okay. Him playing those video games is providing a whole big industry. Okay. You have all type of people, men and women, who are working in that industry, taking care of their wives, their husbands, their children, their elderly parents. Okay. They're making a living doing stuff they want to do because you have all these dudes buying all these video games. Okay. So that actually is a nice benefit from that. That's a whole industry from dudes playing video games. Okay. But nobody ever really talks about that. I never hear anybody talk about that. Hell, well, you're just playing those games. You're wasting your time. But you never look at how many people benefit from that industry. Okay. How many people have a job in that industry because dudes are sitting out there buying, spending money on their hobby. I rarely ever hear anybody talk about that. I rarely hear anybody say that. Okay. And you got so many different jobs. Okay. So many different jobs from that over the decades, from companies, factories that make the cartridges or the CDs or DVD or whatever, Blu-ray or whatever they ship these games on, who produce the games consoles themselves, the chips and the parts from it, man, a lot of different jobs and businesses that get that this hobby is providing. Okay. And also, last but not least, I don't want to drone on too much. I see people like, oh, we got to help these guys. We got to help them. They're just sitting there wasting their life away and blah, blah. Look, man, even if you got some dude, all he does is play video games and he don't want to interact with nobody, you're not going to help this dude by trashing his hobby. If this guy has some type of trauma or issues in his life, maybe he's, whatever. Maybe he's I think, what does they call it? Agoraphobic, the person that can't go outside, or he's been abused or mistreated some kind of way, and all he wants to do is play them video games. You're not going to help that dude by trashing him, man. We need some other social services and figure out what the problem is to help these dudes, okay? But last but not least, if you really want to help these guys, man, instead of trashing them, why not sit up there and tell these dudes who play all these video games and start buying stock in these companies, okay, that make the games, okay? Why don't I see like more women, more children, and some of these preachers, up here, and these social influencers teaching these dudes about stocks? Hey, you like playing all these games, man? You buy all these expensive consoles and the controllers, and then you online, you buying this and you buying that, man. Let me show you about how to buy this stock from Sega or Nintendo or Sony or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Let me teach you about the stock market, man. Let me make these videos and teach you about buying stock in all these third-party developers and these second-party developers who make these video games. Okay. Oh, we're going to do these videos and get the word out about this up-and-coming new video game companies started from some ex-employees from Microsoft and Sega or Nintendo, okay? These guys have all this capital and they're coming out with these new type of technology for their games that's really going to blow stuff out the water. You better get in here at the ground floor so you can flip this stock. Let's teach you, okay? Since you love this hobby, let's teach you how to make money off this hobby, which we always complaining about. But at the end of the day, it's not about helping men, okay? They're attacking this hobby because they have a dislike for men, okay? Some people hate men, and some people think that men are just there to service other elements of the society, okay? You only have value in as much as what you do for women, children, the government, the church, and other elements of society, which again, those are all good things, that men should work for the betterment of society. But if guys don't feel like they valued, they're not going to do that. And trashing them in trashing their hobbies is not going to make them do those things. So yeah, that's what I really think it comes about, man. It's just a low-key hatred of men, a low-key disrespect of men. I can't come out and say I hate your guts. I can't come out and say you're worthless. Your only value is what you do for somebody else. So I'm just going to trash your hobby. That's it. I'm going to trash your hobby until you go back and do what I want you to do. So I mean, hey, if you think that these people who trash video games really care about men, and that's the reason why they're doing it, you're putting a Jedi man trick on yourself, man. They don't care about dudes, okay? They're just jumping on the bandwagon and they're just espousing their actual hatred and what they really think of guys. So that's just my thoughts.